Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. Funding for Chautauqua Sunrise is provided in part by the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency, with offices in Jamestown and Dunkirk, helping businesses to prosper throughout Chautauqua County. From supporting people with disabilities to enjoy great lives to providing health care services that are available to anyone, the Resource Center has been improving our county for more than 60 years. Learn more about how the Resource Center makes a positive difference in people's lives. From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Good morning, here we are. Waiting for that camera shot, I don't want to look too weird. Good morning, everybody. I'm Doc Hamels, and welcome to Chautauqua Sunrise. We've got a really fun show in store for you today. We're going to be talking about Earth Day, nature, Mother Nature, keeping the environment clean, all that good stuff. Things that we've been talking about for years, but are we doing it or not? And so we've got two folks from Fredonia State College and the Greystone Nature Preserve. It's like a combo package here today that we're going to be talking about Earth Day and all kinds of activities that are going on that we should focus on. I hope you're having a good morning already, good weekend. It's been a really super nice week. Temperatures have been, in the upper 70s? Did you guys hit 80? Yes. Yeah. I think it was about 82 in some places. But I guess it's supposed to drop a little bit tomorrow, but that's just normal. We're going to have a cold front coming through, and then it's back up, and then it's down, and it's up. And someone wrote the other day, what happened to spring? Here we go. We're getting down to like 2 seasons, it seems, like winter and summer. Well, it's like the Florida of the North, Diane. We got Diane Clark and Bill Moran in the studio today introduce them. I can do that. It's my show, right? Yeah, okay. They're in our audience today from Greystone. So good morning, folks. Thanks for coming by. They're giving moral support because you guys are going to need it here in a minute. No, you're going to do fine. I want to say good afternoon to all my listeners on WRFA 107.9, Low Power to the People in Jamestown, New York. Thanks for checking in with us Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. Jason Sample, General Manager over there. Good morning, Jason. Good afternoon. It's good morning here. Afternoon by the time we get to you. Thanks for putting the show on the air once again. We've had a wonderful relationship with those folks, and we hope for many, many years to come. I want to do a shout out. They couldn't believe this. My guests couldn't believe that we actually have viewers from the Ukraine. So Natalia, make sure you say good morning to the ladies. They don't believe me. So when you can go back and look at the show, you'll see that the folks in the Ukraine actually do watch us. We have some good friends over there, of course, in the Netherlands, across Asia, down into Thailand, the Philippines, across the United States. Good morning, John Carlton, down in the Panhandle of Florida. My cousins over in the Netherlands, and on and on. And I understand we might have a viewer from Montana. I got to write that down. We're going to have to check that out here in a little bit. Okay, so we are everywhere because we stream live. Also, keep in mind, this is a live show. For any of you that want to give us a call, 716-753-5225. Why would you want to call? Well, first of all, you might have a question that you want to grill and drill my guest about Earth Day and in the environment, or you might say, wow, you guys are doing a great job. Or you may have an event for your club or organization, a fundraiser, who knows, a birthday, an anniversary, and it's all free of charge. We're going to do it right here live. And if you are shy and you don't want to talk to me live, yep, Randy gets it down the best he can on a piece of paper, walks it all the way across the studio, which is quite a distance. He gives it to Justin, who once again walks quite a distance of all 7 feet, hands me the paper, and I announce it. So we'll be happy to do that for you as well. So don't be shy. Also, I always do this backwards. Right along the bottom here is the email address. If you also go, oh man, I forgot to call in, and we have an event in a week or two, email me at chautauquasunrise@gmail.com. We will be happy to get your announcement. As you know, here are the yellow papers. These are your announcements that I'll be doing here shortly. And we're happy to do that because that's what we do here. We talk about Chautauqua County and all the cool things, the good stuff. And we talk about some of the dark stuff here too, because we realize that we got to be mature about certain topics, and we've talked about those in the past. But today we're going to have a happy topic, Earth Day. All right, let me see here. I hope you all had a good Easter and Passover celebration, and that you're all doing well. Got together with family. We had 13 people at our house, plus 2 dogs. So it was a lot of fun, and I hope you all got together with your families as well. All right, also remember, this show is on every day here on Access Chautauqua, Spectrum 1301, twice a day at 2 and 8, so you can always go back and watch the show over and over and over again, because we're on YouTube also, and that's going to be not just for the week, but forever. You have any idea how long YouTube's going to be around? Justin, you're my man. No, 10 years more? 20 years? Who knows? They're going to change it into something. I know they're going to morph it into something. I just know. But anyways, until further notice, we're going to be on YouTube forever. All right, let's go into some announcements right off the bat. Okay, let's go to number 15, Jeff. Okay. Owner Diana Scott cuts the ribbon April 10th, just a few days ago, for the grand opening of someplace new. I always like to tell you about new businesses because, well, a lot of times people say, well, I didn't know about that. If I would have known that, I would have gone there. The grand opening of the Studio D Catering and 716 Boutique at the Chautauqua County Airport at Jamestown. Who knew? You know, who knew that there was a catering? Yeah, who knew? So there's a catering business there in a boutique. Shown in this picture right now is Daniel Heitzenrader, who's been on the show. He's with the Chamber of Commerce. Shannon Barnhart, who's the manager of airports for Chautauqua County. PJ Wendell, as many of you know, is our county executive. Tim Card, the county director of public facilities. Lisa Vanstrom, county legislator and representative for Senator George Borrello. Bill Reynolds, who's the Jamestown City Council member, and then Jamie Smaragliolo and Diana Scott from Studio D Catering. Shannon Bierkarak, remember I told you I have trouble saying words, and Carrie Swanson from the Chautauqua Chamber of Commerce is there as well. Studio D Catering will be open 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Mondays through Thursdays for lunch, with catering events Friday through Sunday. And so check it out. See what you think. All right, moving along. It's movie week at the Reg. And here we go. Moving on. That's the first one. All right. Today at 8 p.m. and at 9:25 p.m. So we got 2 times today. Over on 3rd Street. $7 admission, $1 at the theater restoration fee, as you know. Here we go. Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin star as estranged friends who unite to seek revenge on the petulant widower Malcolm McDowell of their recently deceased best friend. Along the way, Fonda's character reunites with her great love, Richard Roundtree, as each woman learns to make peace with the past and each other. That's moving on. That's today. Then Wednesday, April 19th at 7 o'clock and 8:48. $5 admission. This is a little cheaper one. This is the 15th anniversary of... Good question. What's the title of this? I got it in stereo. I got it on this side and in my ear. Mamma Mia! The 15th anniversary screening. You see, I do these dramatic stops because then everybody jumps in as group participation here. Sophie has just one wish to make her wedding perfect, to have her father walk her down the aisle. Now she has to find out who he is. That's interesting. Join the music, laughter, and fun of the irresistibly charming Mamma Mia. Academy Award winner Meryl Streep leads all-star cast, including Pierce Brosnan and Colin Firth, as well as up-and-comers Amanda Seyfried and Dominic Cooper, in this musical celebration of mothers, daughters, and fathers, and true lovers, lost and new ones found. Based on the Broadway smash hit and filled with the ABBA songs you know and love. It's the feel-good experience that will have you singing and dancing all over and over again. It's a PG-13. It's 108 minutes long. That's only $5 plus the $1 extra. Okay, go to the box office Mondays and Fridays 12 to 5, on Wednesdays 12 to 8, and of course you could always give them a call, 484-7070. All right, let's keep moving. We're on a roll. Slide 17, National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. So what's the big deal? Y'all got medications in your medicine cabinets. You might say, no, I don't. Well, did you ever have a dog? Did you ever have to give him something? Is it still in there? Yeah, I got medicine from 2 dogs ago. Shouldn't be in there. We should probably get rid of it. You may have something that you took 6 months ago during the COVID, or you might have something that's for allergies that no longer need it. Or sometimes people, we move or we have someone that passes on and those medications are still kicking around. Get rid of them. What do? All right, National Prescription Take-Back Day is scheduled for Saturday, April 22nd, that's next week, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Take your unused and expired medication to be disposed of safely. The only confirmed collection site in Chautauqua County is at All-Star Ambulance in Dunkirk. However, Chautauqua County residents always have the option to take their unused expired medication to any of the following locations, which I will tell you in a second. Remember, the one right now is the All-Star Ambulance in Dunkirk, but you can also go to the prescription drop-off at any of these sites because they have boxes and it's anonymous and you can do it anytime you want. You can go to, hang on a minute now, give me a second. No liquids or sharps, but I'm trying to find all these different places here. Okay. Okay, just give me a second because there's a bunch of stuff here. All right, so if you have any questions, you always give me a call, 366-4623, 664-3608. Now, no questions, no names, no liquids, no sharps, remember. So where may you go? Say, Jamestown Police Department in Jamestown, CVS Pharmacy in Jamestown, Tops Pharmacy in Jamestown, Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office right here in Mayville, the Westfield Police Department in Westfield at Easton Hall, Lakewood Bustye Police Department over on Summit, Fredonia Police Department in Fredonia, the Concord Pharmacy in Fredonia, City of Dunkirk Police Department over on Central Avenue, Tops Pharmacy in Dunkirk, Town of Ellicott Police Department over on Faulkner Street, Hanover Town Clerk Office in Silver Creek. Okay, hang on a sec, make sure I got them all here. And then, if you have any other questions, you can always contact the New York Connects Aging and Disability Resource Center at 753-4582 for more information. They can help you find a location. So please, believe it or not, people take some of these drugs and they try them, or they take them and they give them to their friends as a joke or whatever, or they try to sell them. And trust me when I say this, when I was in education or I was an administrator, we had folks that would try to pawn these things off to others, and they don't know what they're doing, and you can have an allergic reaction, you could die from this stuff, who knows. So please, empty out your medicine cabinets, get rid of the stuff you don't need, and I gave you that long list. Jeff tells me we're going to use that announcement for the next couple of weeks, so please do what you can do on that. All right, now, slide 18, little drum roll here. Da, 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 da. We talked about this last week, the 50th anniversary for the Office for Aging Services. Thanks for the memories. This is a social time. Okay, what they're going to do is they're going to have a little celebration, and this is going to be held on May 3rd at Dunham Avenue, Celeron, at the Chautauqua Harbor Hotel. How much does it cost? $10. Okay? Or if you don't want to go there, you go to the Clarion Hotel and Conference Center in Dungard from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. They tell me they're going to have some fun and some prizes. It's a get-together to celebrate all the good work that the Office for Aging Service has done over the last 50 years. And I'll be attending the one at Chautauqua Harbor at this point. I know it doesn't seem possible I could be part of that group, but I am. And but you don't have to be very old. I mean, they say anybody over 50 years old. I know I look just like 51, 52. But anyways, quiet over there. This is going to be a great opportunity to get together with friends, especially after COVID. A lot of people didn't do a lot during that period of time. So this is like recharging everybody's batteries, getting together with old friends. New York Connects is where you want to call for your tickets. It's the only way you can get your tickets. 716, I'll repeat this again, 753-4582. Again, 716-753-4582. Tickets are only $10. Catered lunch and event activities are included. Again, Chautauqua Harbor Hotel, May 3rd. Clarion Hotel, May 10th at 11. Okay? And let's see, oh no, more. Did I do this one? No. More. An evening at the theater. All Things Equal. This is a good one. The Life and Trials of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. A new play by Tony Award winner Rupert Holmes will be performed in Jamestown at the Reg Linné Center for the Arts. This is a performance, folks. This isn't a movie. The play, representing an intimate portrait of the late Supreme Court Justice Ginsburg, is on a tour of the United States. Michelle Azar stars as Ginsburg under the direction of Layli Lepard in creating this play about her richly lived life and hard-fought struggles. Hang on a second. In creating this play about her richly life and hard-fought struggles, this is a quote now, I came to ever more deeply marvel at her strength, tenacity, sly wit, and compassion, says Holmes. Our play also reveals the love song that ran through her remarkable life and shares the music that was her giddy delight. All Things Equal offers each theatergoer the chance to better know this woman, her yearning for equality, and her love for this nation's precious institutions. I would have liked to have met her. I bet she was a feisty one. Kind of reminded me of my mom. The Jamestown performance is made possible by collaboration between the Reg Linné Center for the Arts and the Robert H. Jackson Center. As nationally touring theatrical productions rarely perform in our city, we jumped at the chance to share this with the community, remarked Hillary Meyer, the executive director of the Reg. Partnering with a fellow nonprofit organization whose mission supports such a performance is a special opportunity. All right, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty here. Let's see here. So tickets to All Things Equal may be purchased online at thereglinné.com or at the box office, as we've talked before. Now, I'm trying to see what the prices are here. Jeff, do you see the prices? Okay, I guess you're going to have to call. Okay, I don't think it says on there either. So it's going to be, the Jackson Center will present also a tie, like a bow tie event, black tie I guess it's called, May 6th before the performance. Notorious RBG author Erin Carmon and Jackson scholar John Q. Barrett will feature a public discussion and book signing at 2:30. The discussion will focus on Justice Ginsburg's and Justice Jackson's connection to influential constitutional scholar Robert E. Cushman. Okay, so a lot going on. So again, this is going to be held on May 6th at 7:30 p.m., a live presentation called All Things Equal, The Life and Trials of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. All right, we're going to take a little break. Don't go anywhere. We got a great show in store for you. We'll be right back.
This is Rick Mascaro, Executive Director of Lakeshore Center for the Arts in Westfield, New York. Get ready. Get ready to enjoy original works of theater from all over the world, from a stage wherever you are. Our Readers Theater provides original audio play productions, which you can find by using the link found in this post. And even more audio plays were just posted for your listening pleasure. We hope you enjoy and discuss them with your friends. Well, you can't discuss them with your friends unless you go to this site. Hit that link below. Let's go.
Rick Mascaro from Lakeshore Center for the Arts. So where he's going with that is if you want to hear the audio version of the plays that were picked, the final 20 out of the 200, as he noted, they're online. You go to Lakeshore Center for the Arts, and there's 20 different voiceovers, and I was very honored to be able to do 4 of them. They've got it now down to 10, 5 comedies, 5 dramas, and they're going to actually be performing those at the end of May. So that's pretty cool. So we'll be talking more about it as we go along. We digress. I have 2 ladies that are chomping at the bit to get on the show, so I'm going to now tell you a little about what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about nature, keeping the environment clean, what you can do to focus on in your little neck of the woods, your couple green acres, whatever you have, your neighborhood. You know, this has been something we've been talking about for a long, long time, and so I'm just glad that we're still talking about it because there's a lot of work to do. And if you think about Chautauqua County, especially around here, it's gorgeous, and that's because people care about their property and their land and their trees and all that sort of thing, and their water, okay? So I want to welcome to the show Katherine Studt and Anna Faulise from
Florida, Boca Raton, Florida, and Fredonia, New York.
And from
Orchard Park, New York.
Orchard Park, just down the road, really. So Katherine, you come a long way to be here.
Yes, I have quite a few moves and different experiences, but I ended up here, and I'm semi-permanently here until I graduate.
Okay, now what year are you in?
I'm a junior.
Okay, and Anna, you're a junior as well?
I'm a senior at Fredonia. This is my last year.
Okay, so Katherine, what are you studying?
I'm studying adolescent social studies education. So I will hopefully and one day be a social studies high school teacher.
And Anna?
I'm a U.S. history major. I'm hoping to teach it at a higher level education, perhaps at Fredonia one day. Maybe get 2 docs on the show at some point.
2 doctorates?
I would like to be a doctorate, yes.
It's really cool.
I've heard.
When you walk in and say, Dr. Faulise is here today.
I like the sound.
Very
of it.
nice.
It's got a nice
sound.
ring to it.
I know. Look, then you have your own TV show, Doc Hamels, Dr. Faulise show. You know. How about you, doctor?
It's a
It's a
potential.
possibility.
It's a possibility.
I'll tell you this much, and then we'll move on. The doctorate is something that's a lot of work, and make sure you know what you want to do with it. You said higher education, so I'm assuming you want to work at the college level or university level.
I would love that.
And that's where you really need it. At the high school level, masters will serve you well.
Yes.
Okay,
I think so.
What has this got to do with Earth Day? I get the social studies and history, so I guess I can see how it fits. But how did you get involved with this whole concept?
Well, when I was in high school, I was lucky enough to go to NYC Lab School for Collaborative Studies, and they often emphasized how important it was to be aware of your environment and what you are producing and how you're actively being a part of that environment. So when Earth Day protests started to occur in New York City, I was granted a free skip the day from my principal and was able to go and protest and
You're
sing.
a protester.
Oh, yes.
What were you protesting?
I was protesting the outrageous actions of the New York City school districts or school system, because they were, the way in which they were handling certain environment or certain things that had to do with their environment and how they were not letting certain schools either have keep bees on the roof of their schools. They were completely denying that in every way possible, even when all of the money was figured out and all of our recycling there was recycling issues and much more. So I became involved with that and with just different events that I.
So when you say New York City, are we talking Manhattan?
Yes, New York City. Well, the New York City School District has or Department of Education. It connects with all 5 boroughs, but I was in Manhattan, so that's where most of my.
So you must have culture shock since you've been here in this Chautauqua County. I mean, this is like going to Central Park and nowhere else, right?
It is very much like that. I was lucky enough to grow up in Florida and then have family in St. Louis and North Carolina, so the suburban life is not too shocking to me, but
okay.
It is.
But after protesting New York City about bees, and here we raise bees, and maple syrup and all kinds of grapes and crops and stuff.
It's a nice break. It is a very nice break.
Now, have you been here all your college career?
Yes, I have.
Okay,
yes.
So you're in your 3rd year living here.
Yes,
okay.
I am.
Holy mackerel. Bees. They wouldn't let you do bees.
Yes, but finally my high school has bees on their roof now. So it's been quite a few years of us fighting for that.
I would never have thought that would have been an issue at the school level. When I was superintendent at Ripley, I actually had them allow my one teacher to build boxes outside his classroom window, and it was doing planters, and we were recycling and all kinds of cool stuff. Anna Faulise, how in the world did you get involved with this? I mean, I understand, the history aspect, but what does it got to do with Earth Day?
So I got involved. I am a U.S. history major, and history has always been a passion of mine, something I found interesting, something I've always been good at. In school, I never really was involved with the environmental sciences because science and math were not something I was great at. It took one teacher at Orchard Park High School, his name's Mr. Mark Vanderwater, to inspire me to care about earth sciences in a way that was not completely surrounded by, Common Core curriculum. He brought a new light to it. He made it interesting and fun, and he was probably the only teacher at that school that strayed away from maybe what was, set in stone to be taught, to teach things that were genuinely important. From high school, he was bringing the students outside to observe small ecosystems in the fields. He would teach us about things that were going on in the world that were very important, that were directly affecting us and the environment, but wouldn't otherwise be taught. And as I went to Fredonia and into college, I took that with me, and I started becoming more hypervigilant about my effect on the environment and more aware of, the impacts around me. And there, because of Mr. Vanderwater, I started to take electives in earth sciences, including a class called Environmental Literature with Dr. Christina Jarvis. She's a teacher at Fredonia. And she connected me with Bill and Diane Moran, and that's how I found out about Greystone. I always kept my options open for electives. I kept those for environmental sciences because it's something I've cared about for quite some time. So even though it's not my focus, I do find the time for it. And I think a lot of students stray away from getting involved because the things we're hearing about now and recent disasters are very overwhelming, devastating, discouraging. But I find that the more you learn about it, the more you learn about the impacts you can make as well to reverse those things or to help them. So it's something I've always been passionate about.
I see that. I'm thinking that you take history and you think about what man has done historically to the environment. You think about why did the Europeans come to America? Because they really sucked at conservation of resources. They sucked the trees out, they sucked the ores out of the ground, they polluted their waters. Think about just all the rivers, they just threw their waste into it and stuff like that. And they were always looking for someplace better to live. They came to America and then they started doing the same thing. And here we are, what, 200, 300, 400 years later, trying to clean up the mess that they, and it wasn't just, Europeans, but historically you could run a whole stream of just environmental issues all those years. I'm a history buff too. It's a long story. We won't go there. But when you think about why did people move, it was because of a lot of that, and then we look at how the indigenous people here, the First Nations, how they had their environment, and then what happened to it when we had other people invade their lands and things like that. So there's a lot there historically, isn't there? Ooh, this is a heavy topic all of a sudden. Okay, so well, I guess is a good background of where you're coming from, and it's interesting because some people say, "Well, I'm a math teacher," or "I'm a this or that." Well, it all goes together, it all works. We had a woman on here not too long ago who is now a professor type, and she's working with Cornell University, and she's a scientist. And she always explains she's using math all the time. She's using historical things in this nature, and uses all these different curricula combined together to do the job. It's not isolated. So like we're saying right here, history and social studies. So does that kind of fit with your social studies concept? Where do you see that line?
I think it does, because a lot of what I've been learning in school and in the years prior to college is just about how we've messed up. So learning more and more of that gives me more of an influence to take action, because there are those few figures throughout history who have taken action and have done amazing work, but those are the people that inspire me to then continue.
Who?
Well, I mean, just from off the top of my head, Ruth Bader Ginsburg,
Okay.
Since there is the play coming up, the hearing about all of the change that she was able to enact while she was in the Supreme Court. Yes, she's a very inspiring person, and that gives me hope for these small actions that we, as people who are currently in a smaller town environment, can do.
Have you seen a commercial where there's two people looking out to some kind of a vista, and there's a plastic bottle on the ground, and the guy just walks over, picks it up, and puts it in the recycle?
Yes.
And they said one small act, and that's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about going out and sucking Lake Erie out and changing the water or moving whatever. We're talking about everyday people just doing something, right?
Yes, exactly. That's the message of our event, is that we want to show that students in college who are living in a dorm room, who don't have too much control of their environment, that they can actually make change and have an impact that is good, and that it is important that every single person's actions are important. I think a lot of times we kind of ignore that or dismiss our desire to do things like that and make change, because we think we're just this tiny little speck of dust in this large pile of dust, that it doesn't matter what we do, but it does.
It does.
That's what we want to explain and show.
We got a phone call already.
Oh,
Wanna
we
take
do.
a call?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Doc. It's Mike Fellison from Portland.
Mike from Portland. Remember I told you sometimes with my calls. Yes, good morning.
Well, I started to listen to your show this morning. I thought I had to call in, and I see your guests are two young ladies from Fredonia State College, which was my alma mater. I'm a graduate of Fredonia State.
Actually, I am too. Partly, I have 1 degree from there. Yeah.
Okay.
What'd you take, Mike?
I did it. I guess I liked it so much I did it twice. As a young man, at age 19, 20, whatever, I graduated at the normal time with a degree in business administration. Now, back then, the program was different. and it wasn't as helpful for getting jobs as it. Well, I think it's better now. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Anyways, I had worked for a couple places in the area. I had a good paying job in a factory. I was at Great Lakes Color Printing. They closed up, and so I was able to go back to school and get the accounting courses I needed to get an accounting degree. I graduated there with my second major in 1990 like I said, I've been about 35, and got into Chautauqua County, became an accounting supervisor, and stayed there until retirement. So I guess I'd basically say my major was accounting.
But Mike, tell the ladies where you work for the county. This is interesting. This is where Mike first heard my voice, right?
Okay. No, actually, I heard your voice when Reed Powers did the show.
Okay, but live. Remember, I visited where you were, and you said, that's got to be Doc Hamels, because you heard my voice. Remember you told me that?
Oh, that's right. I was in my office, and I heard you talking in the hallway to the receptionist.
My voice got ahead of me as usual. So where was I?
You were at the Chautauqua County landfill.
Oh.
Okay. And one of the things, and that's where I worked. It was a county-owned landfill. I was a county employee. And kind of one of the neat things about that is, well, I'm digressing. It was somewhat a little bit through recycling that I got the job. I eventually became an accounting supervisor, but they wanted someone to help with recycling accounting. Ultimately, I did all other kinds of accounting for the landfill. But there were some neat things. Once in a while, I'd get to do a landfill tour, and I'd get to talk to kids, mostly high school kids, about and I used to say, one of the things you could do is get a career in the environmental field, environmental scientist.
Here we are.
At one time, not anymore, but in the past, we used to have a recycling coordinator. We had a few different people do that job. And we spent a lot of time with recycling. I'm taking, I've had a few heart issues. I was taking a cardiac rehab course, and we got talking about plastic recycling. And I'm still, maybe I wouldn't consider myself an expert, but I'm pretty knowledgeable. So I still can give a little mini lecture on recycling.
Cool.
But anyways, the main reason I called is next week is Earth Day, and Earth Day is always April 22nd.
Yes, sir.
And I looked back on the internet to make sure I was right in this. And the reason I say I knew the date was right. I've known that for a long time.
Okay.
But I wasn't sure exactly when the first Earth Day was. I thought I knew, and I was right. It was 1970. In 1970, I was a freshman in high school at Brockton Central School, which is the school in the town where I still live to this day. And we had a social studies teacher. He's since passed away, but his name was Roger Ruckman. And Roger took us out on I don't know if you want to call it a field trip or whatever, but we walked from the school downtown Brockton, which is a huge place. Don't blink when you go through it. We cleaned up about a mile worth of roadside, and it was kind of interesting, what we found and stuff, and it really stuck with us. I mean, again, this was 1970. I was a freshman in high school, whatever I would have been, 15 years old maybe. I have never forgotten that.
Super.
I'm 68 years old. I've never forgotten that.
You're that old?
I'm that old. I'm that old. Yeah, I'm that old. And now we have Earth Day. I can see the girls laughing. You'll be there one day, girls. Remember you heard it from me first.
Well, Mike, thanks for calling. That was a great segue to what we were talking about.
Okay, well, I'd like to just share one other little thing.
Yeah.
Like me. One of the things, it's too bad you missed something. There was a professor at college. Her name at Fredonia State. You may have heard of her, Doc. Sherry Mason. And Sherry was at Fredonia State for years and did a lot with environmental programs. She did beach cleanups. I actually participated in one as a man in my 60s, and that proved again to be very interesting. But again, there was someone from the college. It's too bad she took a professor's job at another college, and in fact I went to a lecture from her a couple weeks ago.
Super.
But it's almost a shame. It's almost a shame you guys didn't have a chance to have some interaction with her.
Okay.
But so I was getting at is 53 years later,
Here we are.
I mean, it still has impact.
All right.
Plus, I think I helped do a beach cleanup with Diane and Bill, who are in the audience.
They're right here? Yeah.
Yeah, and they might remember me. If I'm going to tell them,
They're giving the thumbs up. Yep, they
They
do.
remember me? Okay, all right. Okay, I wasn't sure if they would, but I'm glad they did.
Okay.
So, anyways, it's kind of a small world for some of this stuff, but I just wanted to, give a shout out to the young ladies, and they're certainly working on a program that had to start 53 years ago and is still going strong.
Okay, Mike. Hey, have a great weekend. Thanks so much for calling in.
All right, we'll see you, Doc.
Okay, bye-bye
Bye
now.
Thank you.
So you're just keeping the flame going.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
The groundwork that Senator Gaylord Nelson left us, that's what we want to follow and make sure that it's strong and known.
So, Anna, what's your read on all this as far as making a difference in the environment right now?
Well, based on the things that we've talked about, starting with the affiliation of our studies of focus and the Earth, I can't lie, there's not much overlap for my studies. And a lot of people's focuses in colleges, they don't have anything to do with the Earth. But I am a strong believer that there doesn't have to be any correlation. I think caring about the Earth or managing your environmental impact is something that you can do day to day. It could be a hobby, it could be a job, it can be something you pay attention to every weekend. For Earth Day, I would like to encourage students to who maybe aren't already interested in environmental sciences or don't feel like they have a part. I'd like them to find their place. And while Earth Day is focusing this year on little things that people can do to improve their impact, my position as co-director is to bring in a different element with a petitions table and find speakers that inspire students to make larger impacts on a larger scale. I think both are equally as important. There's been a lot of devastating things this year concerning the environment. Starting with, not even starting with, but the two biggest or most recent ones would be the approval of the Willow Project, which is a massive oil drilling project starting in Alaska, which will ultimately kill many species of animals as well as release over 300 million tons of carbon emissions into the air. And that's from land that has never been touched before, as well as the train disasters, with the chemical spills. So it's very overwhelming, it's very daunting, but a lot of students they still underestimate their power to make an impact on these things. Voting, for example, for certain policies, especially on local levels, has a huge impact. So for Earth Day, I will be running a petitions table. A lot of the issues with even the trains, for example, the train crashes that caused the gas leaks and the spills, that all comes down to union regulations and rules that are passed locally. So a lot of students don't realize that they can impact things on a large scale by doing small things like voting. For example, the Willow Project, there's over 3 million signatures that are protesting against it. And now that it's passed, I think a lot of people are discouraged because it's like, we did all this and it's still going on. Well, it's not happening until 2027, and there has been events in history, for example, the Keystone XL pipeline, that have been approved, have begun, and then were stopped because people continued to persist on large scales regardless of what was already enacted. So my goal for Earth Day and for students is to encourage them to make efforts that are large scale that they might not realize are large scale. There's a lot of power in a vote or a great number of people, and while things seem discouraging now, it's not over yet. So my goal is to encourage them to, yes, focus on the little things like, recycling and, their environmental impact and what they're putting out into the earth, but also to be aware of things that they can do long term that will serve them when they're older, that will serve our children and their children, and so on.
So my next question is, what political office are you running for first?
I don't know yet.
I wasn't far off, was I? You speak very well on the matter.
Thank you.
And you know, I was in your shoes years ago. You know, Mike was talking about 1970. You know, I was in college then. And we get full of spirit and energy, and that's part of being in college. It really gets you inspired. The trouble is, and the hard part is keeping that flame going when you leave college, because sometimes you feel like you hit a wall, but you don't let it go, you know. And there's many of us that have kept the flame going, and I'll give you an example. You might not even know this, but the Rotary clubs of Chautauqua County are all banding together throughout this region with clubs up in Canada, Ontario, and so forth, and we're going to do a major Lake Erie cleanup on May 13th.
Oh,
Okay, so maybe when I get more information, I'll send it over your way.
Yes,
Maybe you want to
absolutely.
join us. And so that's part of what Rotarians do, is we are part of the climate concern and have done beach cleanups, and you know, we do, and you say, oh, that's why those signs are there. If you're ever driving around, you see a Rotary or those clubs, they'll say Fishing Game Club or whatever cleanup. You know, they are responsible for that 2-mile stretch. Well, if you start at the top of the Mayville Hill and go all the way down to Lake Erie, so it's quite a stretch, because I've walked it. Our Rotary Club cleans whatever it is, 5 miles of highway every year, a couple times a year. So you're not alone. I want you, no, seriously, I want you to know that you know, older folks are very concerned, and that probably we had that same exposure to the professors or teachers, and we were inspired, or we were in Boy Scouts. I was a Boy Scout, okay? That was always something that we were concerned about. So keep going, don't stop, because we're getting tired.
understandably
And
so.
we need reinforcements, and it's easy to get discouraged. But let's move on. So you got some event coming up, so let's talk about it.
Yes, absolutely. So on April 18th, this
Okay.
coming Tuesday, from 1 to 4 p.m. in the Williams Center, the main room, the NPR, we will be hosting our Earth Day celebration. There we will have plants such as the ones we have brought for you today. We've grown all of these at Greystone's Nature Preserve, all from little cuttings, so they're beautiful and happy
Wait a
now.
minute, you started this big guy here from a cutting?
Oh yes, it was a cutting about this big. I think that's probably about 3 inches or so. So this is 4 months of growth and love and care, and same with our spider plant over here, who's grown a little baby.
So it started as a baby, now it is a baby?
Yes, it is. Yes, it was probably a little bit bigger than that baby right now.
So what's your secret? I
Well,
mean, these are growing really well. I mean, there's got to be something going on. You fertilize it and things like that?
well, the amazing resources that we have at Greystone, the manure and peat moss and Diane's care, that I think has facilitated such amazing growth in all of our plants. But we have over 50 that will be given away during our event.
What do you mean giveaway? What's that? How's that work?
Well, if you come to our event, you can go up and pick out a plant and take it home.
Really?
Yes.
How cool is that?
You just have to come to our event.
So why are you giving away plants? I mean, what's the deal?
Well, it's a good reminder within everyone's homes just to be a little bit more aware and to take that moment to interact with the earth, but also have fresh air and oxygen within your house is always nice. But taking care of our earth in little ways, even if it's a plant that you keep in your house. At one point in time, it could be big enough that you plant it outside. And there, you've added to our environment.
Years ago, my son sent me a picture from Germany that he had started an avocado plant. It was like this tall. I said, what's the big deal? I've got a tree that I started from seed that's taller than me. There's an avocado in my house. Doesn't do anything. He just stands there and drinks. But yeah, I have a forest in my house. It gets a little overwhelming. Barb gets the scissors out. She's ready to start trimming. But yeah, we've always had plants at our house and things like that. In fact, I have an orange tree. Do you ever do that? Or get one of those things from Florida, you raise them at your house, and it's an orange tree, and it has oranges. Did you ever try tasting one of those? Woo! It's like acid. It's just horrible. So when I get all my grandkids over, I say, want to try an orange? So, but yeah, we do a lot of that sort of thing. So like, and at your place, where you grew up, did you have gardens or vegetable garden or anything like that?
Yes, my mom does a really good job at maintaining that. Originally, I grew up in North Park, Buffalo, at Fordham Avenue. It's right near Buff State in the Arts District. And from early on in our backyard, we always had like little mint plants and rose gardens, just small things. You know, the city space is limited. And since moving to Orchard Park, my mom has maintained little gardens, mainly things that we can eat or that she cooks with, like spices, herbs. She does have a lemon tree. It's going very well. She's proud of herself for that. Just little reminders that, you know, there's earth all around you, and there's small things you could be doing that are, you know, benefiting it. It's also a reminder that, you know, there's all these little working parts that you don't always see, but they're there. For us, honestly, it's for fresh spices and food, but honestly, that's just as good incentive to have
How wonderful is that,
plants.
something fresh? I can tell you a real fast story. I don't even remember how long ago is Diane shows up here and she gives me some fresh carrots, remember? And so I have my own raised gardens, raised flower beds, vegetable garden beds and things. And for Easter, I thought, I'm going to go pick some carrots. Everybody's looking at me like, what are you talking about? We had such a drought last year. I have a raised garden bed so it doesn't freeze. I had carrots that just kept growing all winter. And so we had fresh carrots for Easter. And I still have carrots growing. So yeah, I'm all with you on the environment and things like that. So, all right, so you're going to have this day in Williams Center, and it's from 1 to 4. See how I did that? I did a little commercial for you. So 50 plants, and you're going to do petitions regarding what? The Willow Project?
There's going to be multiple petitions that students can sign. A lot of them are going to be brought by a club in Fredonia called Fred Grows, and some of the petitions concern excess with the actual university in terms of waste, recycling, town policies. We have a cat problem, and that's really affecting our environment in Mayville and Jamestown specifically. So there's going to be all sorts of petitions. I think we'll maybe bring around like 10. The main focus will be the Willow Project and petitions to make safer regulations for trains that transport chemicals, because we've had multiple of those crashes just in the last year. But beyond that, there's going to be a lot of fun stuff. There's going to be a sustainability table where we teach kids, you know, things that they can be, like fun things and little things they could be doing in their day-to-day lives to lessen their carbon footprint. And there's going to be a fashion table. The Fredonia Fashion Club is coming, and we're doing a clothing exchange. I would like Kat's, these are Kat's ideas, so she can explain, but I think we should talk about some of the fun things that are going on.
Absolutely.
Is it on that poster, by the way?
Yes.
Jeff, let's bring up the poster, and Kat can talk to it. Okay, go ahead.
Everything is on our poster, but we will have a fast fashion informational table. So that is talking about the negative effects of the fashion industry, but more so the fast fashion industry. Along with that, we will have a clothing swap, so that is completely free. You can bring in any old clothes that you have that you don't want to wear but aren't, you know, well, you shouldn't throw out your clothes, so donate them. But
you tell my wife that she sneaks when I'm not around. She grabs like old jeans. They have all these holes in them. Oh, those are for working outdoors.
Yes.
I have to have outdoor jeans. Keep going.
But you can bring in those clothes and swap them out, take some new ones. And then we will also have a paint your own pot little area next to our free plant giveaway, so you can decorate before you bring them home. We will have a guest speaker coming to us, which is all Anna's doing. But beyond that, we'll also
who's the guest speaker?
Oh, yes.
I would love to talk about her. Her name's Amy Vanderwater. She's the wife of Mr. Mark Vanderwater, who I mentioned.
Right.
Yes, they're a wonderful family. They care deeply about the environment, and she's an environmentalist poet. A lot of her poetry is inspired by her experiences and her inspirations from environmentalism. She also writes children's books, which also have the same themes, and she's going to come and share some of her poetry and some of her books. And she's going to talk about what aspects of environmentalism inspire her and what keeps her inspired. And it's just really cool to have someone that's dedicated their life to, you know, to not only producing literature that's impactful and fun and cool to read, but it's inspired by something really important to her. And their whole family is involved in environmental I want to say, professions in some way. So it's just something they've carried with them for a long time, especially Mrs. Amy Vanderwater, and it's going to be wonderful to have her. She's very cool, very cool.
I don't know if you know this, but in the last couple of weeks, the Cornell Extension has had a reading program where volunteers go into the elementary schools and they read a particular book. Every year they pick a book, one particular one, and it's usually connected farm to table kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always kind of cool and kind of goes with the same thing you're talking about. We have another phone call. I never get this many phone calls. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is Linda, Doc.
Linda who?
Linda Spalding.
This is show 455. She's probably been on the show about 400 times. Good morning, Linda.
I don't know. It's been a long time.
What's up?
Well, I want to say good morning to Anna and Katherine, and happy Earth Day.
Thank you.
You too.
Yeah, and it's important that we respect the Earth. You know, the Aborigines are, the original people here. They have a wonderful respect for nature, and every morning their morning prayers is to thank Mother Earth for all of her gifts, the trees, the water, and so forth. It's very sacred, very sacred.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So it's good to see that this appreciation is going on, and people have to remember that ecology is most important, and we're getting a taste of what happens when there's abuses, right?
Absolutely. We were just talking about that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Good.
Well, you have a wonderful day and weekend, and I don't want to interrupt your wonderful discussion.
Oh, well, thanks, Lynn.
Thank you.
Okay, take care now.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. We care what
Yes.
you're talking about. So there's two examples. I mean, and we have people from all over the place that are listening right now. They're shaking their head, yeah. Okay, well, we still have a couple more minutes left. So what does Greystone have to do with all this? I mean, you drag these people from Florida to be here today.
Well, Greystone organized us. They got us together.
Oh, it's their fault.
Yes, absolutely. But we, last semester in, I believe, September, I attended one of our club fairs and saw a little beanie nose peeking out of a table. And there I met Beanie the dog, who is amazing at singing. But she is Diane and Bill's companion pet.
Well, how come Beanie's never been on my show? I don't know, this is new. Okay.
But I approached the table and got to talking with Diane, and I heard their mission statement about bringing nature to more people and helping others experience it, and I thought that was amazing. I immediately wanted to volunteer and help, and since then I've been almost every Sunday for a couple of months.
Super.
I will go up and help out there, but I was talking to Diane, and we just decided one day to throw Fredonia's Earth Day.
Cool. And you contacted me. Gosh, it was before Christmas. I mean, I looked at the date. I think it was back in November we started playing the show. That's how far it was,
Oh, yes.
Very cool. And so, and do you go up to Greystone as well?
Yes, I'm an intern there, technically. I found out about it through Dr. Jarvis. She is I mentioned her earlier, but a professor at SUNY Fredonia. And upon meeting Bill and Diane, I just knew those were two people that cared deeply about the environment, and I am inspired by them because it is they take on that philosophy that it's something that you can, that is part of your life, that is your life, that affects you, that you do daily. They're not just two people that, recycle now and then or, participate on Earth Day. They do, and it's their community outreach skills at Greystone and the things that Greystone Nature Preserve offers. The immediate and surrounding area of Chautauqua is just incredible. They inspire young children to college students. They give people opportunities for internships to learn. They give people job opportunities, whether even, they find things for people to do that are media majors or communications majors. They find spots for them and make them feel seen, and they help them get involved with causes that really matter. So Greystone itself is just wonderful.
Let's hold that thought. Kat, you get to do the last bit. When is Earth Day?
Earth Day is April 18th on this Tuesday, 1 to 4 p.m. in the Williams Center
At Fredonia State.
at Fredonia State.
Ladies, thanks for joining us, and please do not stop. And I will send you the information about the Lake Erie cleanup when I got more information. All right?
Yes, please. Thank you so much.
Folks, there you have it. We have the next generation of environmentalists and cleaner uppers and people that really do care, like most of us do, about where we live and our water and our land and our air. So think about it. Earth Day's coming up April 22nd, according to Mike from Portland. 53 years in the making. Have a great, wonderful weekend, and we got a host next week that'll be doing the show in my place. So take care, and we'll see you next time. I'm Doc Hamels. Bye-bye.